Hey everyone. All right. All right, everyone. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Hope everyone is well. We are going to jump in. Let me see if I can record this. Okay. All right, guys. So good evening. I wanted to come on just briefly to talk about a topic that I think is really important that we unpack as business owners, as entrepreneurs. And I'm going to dive in just a second. Just want to make sure everyone can see and hear me. All right, so welcome to Confessions of a Design CEO. This is actually my first time coming to you live via multiple platforms. So please bear with me. If you have questions or comments, you can post them in the comment box on whatever platform you're on, and I will make sure that I get them answered on this live. Okay, so there's a little bit of a delay, but it's all good. 1 second. Let me just make sure. You can. See. All right. So hopefully you can see me. If you can't, let me know. But welcome again. My name is Monique Nicole. I am a business coach, architect for interior designers and decorators, and I am the founder and creator of a coaching program called Employee to Designer. So you may have heard of this program, and really it is based on a 4-phase framework that I believe every creative interior designer, decorator goes through. And that is 4 phases of entrepreneurship. So when you think about what is the journey that an entrepreneur embarks on, typically it starts with what I like to call the transition phase. So this is where someone who is, thinking about leaving their 9-to-5 job and stepping into entrepreneurship, and they're trying to figure out how do they prepare themselves, right? And then there's obviously several things that you need to do to make sure that you are equipped and ready to make that transition. So you don't just kind of leap out there and, have to figure it out the hard way or end up going back to corporate America, right? Because the whole goal is to transition and never to have to look back. And so this is really my journey. And this is kind of what I teach in this framework. So the first phase is that transition phase. And then the second phase of entrepreneurship is what I call the build phase. And that's where you're actually building your business. So you're building your foundation, you're creating your services, your pricing, your packages, your systems, your processes, how you're going to actually service your clients. So all the things that really require for you to set up a business and build the business. That is what I call the build phase. And then the next phase that an entrepreneur goes through is what they call the growth phase. So this is after you've got the business up and running. You maybe have been in business for a few years. You've gotten some clients under your belt, but now you're looking to take the business to the next level. So you may be generating 6 figures annually, or you're close to it, and you're looking to grow that revenue, or maybe just create some different systems in place so that you can grow the business to different levels. And so In this phase, really what we focus on and what I teach are things like marketing automation, advertising, how to brand your business. So you might be going through a rebrand. I've gone through several rebrands, and it is a task. And so the growth phase is really all about, you know, positioning your business to take it and put it in a place where it is consistent in generating revenue and profit. And then the last phase is the fourth phase is called the scale phase. And that's basically when you are, you've reached some goals that you've set for your business. You've probably hit about six figures or more, and you're looking to scale the business because you're tired of working in the business and really you're ready to work on the business. So being able to make executive leadership decisions so that maybe you could either step away and do some other things that you've been dreaming about doing in your life, or maybe you're looking to exit the business. So you might be looking to sell it or pass it down to your children and retire. And so there's different motivations when you're in the scale phase, but really you're looking for ways to streamline your business and so that you can take a step back and really empower and hire other people to manage the business on a more consistent basis. Okay, so those are the four phases that the employee to designer framework is built on, and it's what I teach in our employee to designer coaching program. And so there's several different paths that I work and I coach interior designers and decorators. And one of the ways is through our Designers Den community. So this is a coaching and community based program, and basically we meet twice a month in a private coaching setting, and it gives designers in our community to ask questions. We do hot seat coaching. We do a lot of deep diving into different concepts and principles, and also teach something something new on each call twice a month. And so I wanted to kind of unpack a topic that I taught last month, and kind of the results that one of our members got just from being on the call. And it's surrounded by this concept. Actually, before I get started, just to make sure. Okay, 1 second. Okay, there we go. I wanted to put on my comments so I can see if anyone has comments. So it's surrounded by this topic of, or this concept, excuse me, of selling equals service. I'm going to say that again. So selling equals service. Now, I remember when many years ago, when I used to work in corporate America, I worked a lot in sales, right? I was working in sales. And one of the things or concepts that I learned and that I feel like has really helped me in my entrepreneurial journey is reframing my perception around selling, right? And so I used to work for a direct sales company, and basically, I was a sales rep and I had to sell things. And it was very much out of my comfort zone. Like, I am not a salesperson. Trust me, like, if I feel like I have to convince somebody to do something, it's okay. That's kind of my attitude. I'm good. Like, it's all right. I don't want to ever have to convince someone to do anything. And so I had to really learn what selling really was. And so I taught this concept on our coaching call last month in the Designers Den. And I brought it, I actually didn't bring it up, but one of our members brought it up because she was really struggling with like selling her packages, her services. She has a great suite of services. She's a very talented designer. But she, brought to the table on the call that like, hey, I've got this business, it's doing well, but I know it can be doing better. And I think that the problem, she said, is that I'm kind of scared to sell. And I don't want to feel like I'm being pushy. And, a lot of times she said when she gets on consultations, she'll talk with the client, she'll build a great rapport, but when it comes time to kind of like really share her services, she kind of like recluses. And so I said, well, let's unpack that, right? And we talked a lot about like her mindset and what she thinks about selling and like what is her perception of selling. And from what she shared, I could tell that whatever she had experienced in her life, that it had shaped a certain perception and perspective around selling, right? And that selling was being pushy, or selling was trying to convince her clients that they should work with her, or that they should, purchase one package over another. And that it was causing her not to ask for the sale, and basically just give, but not necessarily ask for the sale. And so one of the things that we started with is I taught her, and I taught, the folks on the call, to think about different ways that they can sell and close a consultation. So for example, I shared with them, once you're finished with the consultation, just like if you were, you know, checking out at a grocery store, just simply ask how they would like to pay, and you could say something like, okay, great. I have a good understanding of what you need and what you're looking to do in your home, or, your space. How would you like to get started? Would you like to pay via credit card? Maybe you have your machine there, or would you like to pay via check or cash, right? It's a very simple thing. You could also ask, and I share this, is that you could also say, okay, how would you like to get started? Or when would you like to get started? Or something as simple as, you know, um, um, not how would you like to pay, but, what's the next step? Like, do you need to talk with your spouse, right? Or, what are you most excited about in moving forward with? Because there's also this concept of getting people to say yes. And if you're always closing, you never feel like you're selling someone at the end of whatever it is that you're sharing with them. And so, asking questions that frame up your services or your offerings and gets them to kind of say yes and commit along the way, gets them, it's almost like practicing, gets them in practicing and saying yes. So by the time you actually ask for the sale at the end, you know yes is a natural response. And so we talked through some of these strategies. But one of the things that I spent a lot of time on is reframing the concept around selling, because you have to first change your mindset around things before you will change your behavior, right? And so there was this book that I read years ago, and it was very, very helpful for me in helping me change my mindset around selling. And the concept, it was based on selling equals service, right? And so it's this concept where, instead of thinking about selling being sleazy and pushy, right? When you reframe this concept of selling equals service, really what that means is that when you sell to someone, you are serving them, right? You are giving them something, you're serving them in a way that is beneficial to them, right? It's a very selfless act when you think about selling equaling service, right? And I think that's where people start to feel uncomfortable, because they feel like they're trying to get something from someone. But when you reframe that concept of selling to selling equals service, right? Now you don't feel like you're selling, or, asking, or not just asking, but you don't feel like you're taking something from someone. You actually feel like you're giving, right? And you essentially are, right? Because think about it, if you're an interior designer and you go into someone's home and you see all the things, the possibilities of how you can help that family or that person live their ultimate best life in their home, right? And you know that you can do that for them. You can come in and you can come up with a design plan that's going to literally change the way they experience their home. And in turn, as a result, it's going to change the way they feel about their home, they feel about themselves, and how they feel, right? And how they live their lives. And when you think about it that way, you're like, man, I have got a gift. This is a gift that I'm giving. All I'm doing is presenting the gift, right? And when you detach yourself from the outcome, meaning if they're going to say yes, or if they're going to sign your contract, or if they're going to pay you, right? Whatever your design fee or the cost of the project is, it puts you in a mindset of servant, right? Of giving. And I don't know about you, but I don't care if it's something very small or very large. When you give and you serve someone, you feel amazing, right? We are just, that's just our innate human nature, that we feel good when we do something for someone, right? And so when you reframe your mind, to think this way, it really just, it changes your whole posture. And it changes the way that you show up in your consultations on the phone. It changes the way you present the value that you bring to the table. It changes the conversation, because it's going to change the way that you describe your services and you share what you do with people, or, your potential client that you're meeting with. And so we talked a lot about what that looks like, right? And I gave some scenarios. And long story short, we ended the call, and obviously, everyone on the call was like, wow, this is great. This is great. And I'll be honest, as a coach, I don't always know immediately if like what I've taught has sunken in or if it's something, that they're going to go back and actually implement into their business. That's not my job or my lane. My job is to give the information and hope that you do something with it, right? So I didn't know what the outcome was. I knew how powerful the information was, but I didn't know if anyone was going to go back and implement it. And lo and behold, I want to say a week later, it was High Point Market, just this past High Point Market in the spring, and I ended up seeing one of our members who was on that call at one of the fireside chat sessions at High Point. And we were catching up, and she's like, I just want to tell you, thank you so much, because she's like, from our coaching call the other day, because it was like a week before that, she was like, because of just changing my mindset and really implementing the strategies that you shared, she was like, I got 2 new clients. And when I tell you, that just brought such joy to my soul, because one, I was like, okay, great. You actually, took what we talked about and what I shared and implemented it. But even more so, I was really happy that she had gotten results, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what's the most important thing. And she basically was just like, just by that simple shift, and this is how powerful your mind is, right? By that simple shift, she was able to show up differently. I'm sure her language and the way she communicated to these prospects that now became clients was different. And just that simple mindset shift basically propelled her to get 2 new clients in 1 week. And so I just wanted to share that because, one, I think there's so much power in community. And then two, when you actually absorb and take in information and you actually implement it, there is a tremendous amount of power that comes with that. And it's just, I think it was just great. So wanted to share that, and also share this concept of selling equals service. So if you're struggling with, selling your services, or even just, talking about what you do as an interior designer or decorator, or if you're just maybe you're in that transition phase and you're not fully out there, your business is not completely built, and you're kind of feeling like, oh, should I say something? Should I talk about it? Yes. Okay. People love to support people who are growing and right, who don't have it all figured out, but are working through the process of building something special. And so never shy away from your dream and what you're building and what you're creating or what you have created, and stand tall and know that you have something of value to offer, and that the people who see the value in what you have to offer, they won't ask how much, they won't ask why, they won't ask, you know, all the things that really don't matter, as long as they know that they can trust you, that they respect you, and that you're a professional and they believe in what you can do for them. Okay, so I want to just tell you that, and if you are a designer or emerging designer or decorator who's looking for a community of design professionals who are on that journey of building something amazing, building a business that you can actually call a career and that will, afford you the lifestyle that you want, I definitely want to invite you to join the Designers Den with us. Again, we meet twice a month, and you get access to me and to all of the other designers in the community. We also have a private VIP community where we you can log into 24/7, you can post questions, you can share wins, information. We do monthly challenges and contests, and you also get access to our library of previous coaching calls, design templates, swipe files, all the things you need to build and grow and scale your business. So I want to invite you to do that. You can comment quiz, you can comment join, and I'll send you all the information. And if you are trying to figure out like what phase you're in and where you need to, focus on building your business or, transitioning, comment quiz, and I will also send you information on a 2-minute quiz that I created that will help you identify what business phase you're in. And also you'll get my free business phase guide that'll not just tell you what business phase you're in, because the first thing you need to figure out is where you are, right? In anything, you have to identify where are you right now. And then the second thing is you're going to get a free PDF guide that's going to tell you where you are and then also guide you step by step in what you need to do next to master that phase that you're in, but also what's the next step for you. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to do more of these. If you did enjoy this, put a comment in the chat. Let me know that this was helpful. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon. All right. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.